Small towns make up the fabric of this country, and Warren County, Tennessee is no different. One of our most prized landmarks is the Falcon Rest Mansion and Gardens. This mansion was built in 1896 by a man named Clay Faulkner. Clay built this home as a way to convince his wife to move to the country with him. His wife Mary loved the city, so Clay spared no expense when building this home. When the home was finished, it was the envy of the community. This was mainly due in part to the fact that this home was one of the only ones in the whole county that had water, electricity, and a telephone. Now, the whole Faulkner family moved into the home and lived there for many years. They lived there up until Clay died in 1916, and after his death, Mary sold the home, and it served many purposes throughout the years, but most of the time sat vacant. Now, in 1989, George and Charlene McLaughlin purchased the home and converted it into the bed and breakfast that it is today. Now, it's no secret in Warren County that this home is supposed to be haunted. I've never stayed there, but I've heard many stories of strange happenings there. So the story I tell isn't true, it's fictional, but it's based on some of the strange things that I've heard that have happened there. So sit back and relax as I tell about what a night might be like at this beautiful manor. It was Christmas time at the manor, and I decided to spend the night for the first time. I walked to my room, which was the carriage room, and I laid my things out and I prepared to tour the home for the first time myself. So I laid out my things and I was walking across the yard to the house, to the porch, and I noticed that the once welcoming home was much more foreboding. It was very dark and almost ominous, and I felt a little uneasy. And I couldn't help but think that when I looked out the window, I saw a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothes staring back at me. Now, I walked from room to room through the home and kind of brushed off seeing the woman, thinking maybe she was just a fellow tourist, but I walked through the home and couldn't help but feel like I was being followed. I would hear footsteps, but see no person behind me or around me at all. I walked all throughout the house, looking at the bedrooms and the reception rooms, and at one point I was upon the stairs and heard footsteps, ran to the stairs, but nobody was there. The steps were empty. So I left that part of the house and went back to my room, the carriage room. And when I entered the room, I noticed that many of the things that I had brought were not where I last put them. I brushed that off as well and decided to nestle into bed for the evening. And as I was laying there, I heard whistling coming from outside my room. Someone was whistling and came upon a midnight clear. I got up out of bed to open the door, see where it was coming from, and when I opened it, no one was there, and the whistling stopped abruptly.